Hi there. We're coming up to the weekend of Christmas, so this is the last live video I'll be doing until Christmas. For those of you that celebrate Christmas, people often ask me, "Do I celebrate Christmas?" To be honest with you, I celebrate everything, any excuse to celebrate. So I celebrate Christmas, Chinese New Year, New Year, Western New Year, Indian New Year, Diwali, all kinds of things, Valentine. And I celebrate even when there's nothing to celebrate. So I just celebrate life. But we do put up Christmas lights and a tree, and I do exchange presents with my friends, and we do have kind of a fun weekend planned for us, for Danny and me and my friends, and it's always fun getting presents for the people I love. So in that sense, yeah, I do celebrate Christmas. So anyway, one of the things that people have trouble with during this season, especially if you're someone sensitive or you're an empath, it can be a little bit stressful. Relationships can be stressful, having a lot of family around you, or even a lot of people I know have trouble receiving, because this is a time for gift giving and receiving. And so what I want you to know is that it's okay to receive. In fact, it's really good to receive, so that you can fill yourself up, so that you can be there to give for other people. Most empaths are really good at giving, but not great at receiving. So this is a time for you, if you're an empath, to check in and ask yourself how good you are at receiving. On another note, what I really wanted to talk to you about is one of the biggest lessons I learned, particularly in recent times. As many of you know, early this year, I did experience a very serious case of burnout, where I had to take a hiatus and I wasn't doing videos, and I was seriously run down. And one of the things that I learned during that time, as I was building myself back up again, as I was resting and as I was eating super healthy and taking care of myself and going for massages and all kinds of fun things like that to regenerate myself and recoup. One of the things that I learned is that the only thing that matters is how I feel. But even more than that, the only thing that matters is how I feel inside about myself. That is the most important thing. So the only thing that matters is how I feel. And that, how you feel and how you feel generally and how you feel about yourself, is what colors your external world. And your external world is, the way you perceive your external world is filtered through how you feel about yourself and how you feel in general. So this is why the only work you have to do is really to work on feeling good. Feel good generally about life, but feel good about yourself. And it starts with feeling good about yourself. When you feel good about yourself, when you just feel good about who you are and where you are in life and how you look or anything like that, you start to feel good about life. And when you feel good about life, that's the filter through which you view life. And that is the vibe you're going to be putting out. And that's the vibe you're going to be attracting. So your work isn't about going out there and chasing and pursuing. And this applies to everything. And this applied to me as I was coming out of the whole burnout, because that is all I worked on. All I worked on is, how do I feel about myself? How much do I love myself? How worthy do I think I am? And what caused me to even lose that feeling was I had got lost again in trying to be everything for everyone, and this time on a global scale. So for those of you who know my story, when I wrote Dying to Be Me, I was writing about how I was a people pleaser for my community, for my friends, and it was in a much smaller way. But we aren't socialized to please people on a global scale. We're not socialized to try and please everyone that interacts with us online and on the internet and on social media. And so when I was faced with that, over the years, that was a whole new issue and a whole new terrain I was dealing with. And so eventually it did catch up on me. But again, what I realized, the insight was that the only thing that matters is how I feel about myself. And that is primary. And even though this sounds selfish, that is actually more important than how I make everyone else feel. And here's why it's more important to feel good about myself before worrying about how I make everyone else feel. When you feel good about yourself, your very presence makes other people feel good. You don't have to work hard at trying to lift other people. You don't have to do it as an obligation. You just do uplift other people just by being you, because you feel good about yourself, you feel good about your life, and you take yourself wherever you go. You become a high vibe person that raises the vibe of everybody around you. So this is one of the things I want you to remember. And just a couple of tips. How do you feel good about yourself? You do things that bring you joy. You go out in nature. And I've said this many, many times in so many of my videos, that do things that bring you joy. Do things that uplift yourself. In 2023, I am going to start speaking a lot more about what raises my vibe, because I learned that in a big way this year and how important it is. So my big takeaway for 2022 is the only thing that matters is feeling good. And it's the only thing that matters is how I feel inside about myself. And the only thing that matters is raising my own vibe. And that's how I raise everybody else's vibe. That's my takeaway for 2022. And in 2023, I will be actually doing focused posts on how I raise my vibe so that you can get tips on how you can raise yours. And I'm interested to hear from you how you raise your vibe as we progress through 2023. I actually have lots lined up for 2023. We're opening up a new iteration of my sanctuary. So check back in a couple of weeks. It'll be open in January. And so what is the sanctuary? The sanctuary is an online immersion of the marinade that I would like you all to bathe in. Most of you are, when we get burned out like I did, and when most of you, when you're going through issues, or you're feeling burned out, or you're feeling the world is getting too much for you, it's because you're being bombarded by fear-based information and fear-based news from the mainstream media. And so in this world, we seem to get bombarded by fear-based information, which causes you to become more fearful and more, it causes you to become more competitive, and you can reach a point where it starts to bring down your health. So what I tell people is we need to create the opposite. What we're spreading is fear, but we need to spread love. That's all there is. It's all about love. And we need to spread love, and it starts with self-love. It starts with self-worth. And when we feel self-love and self-worth, that's when our lives start to improve. But in order to do that, we have to also create a community around us that has the same beliefs. We need a community around us that are not bathed in fears, that are going to then constantly share their fears with us and bring us down. So this is why I created the sanctuary. It's where you can get away from the fear-based world and immerse yourself in a more love-based, joy-based, high vibe-based world. You can be marinated in that so that you can then take that self with you when you interact with this world and share that instead of sharing more fear. So, so with that being said, I wanted to actually wish you all a Merry Christmas if you celebrate it. And please subscribe to my newsletter, because I have a lot of things coming up. And please check into my social media. Please click like, follow, whatever it is. And I can't wait to see you on the flip side of Christmas, and definitely in the new year. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'll see you all really soon. Bye.